We all start somewhere. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Speaks, and today, what I wanted to do is something I've never really done before, which is just a retroactive look into all the art that I made this month. And considering that this will be the first time that I've ever done this, this will actually be my retroactive for all the artwork that I've done for the past 2 months. I'm going to be sharing some artwork that I've done this month on the screen just so that, you're not alone, you're not left alone. But I'm just going to talk about, all the artwork that I did for the last few months, what I did, what I'm thinking, my thought processes for the last few months, and then like what did I do? What did I enjoy? So let's get started. I will say that for me, this entire process, the idea of like looking back is not original and it is inspired from certain artists that I personally love myself. I am someone who creates tarot decks and just creates divination decks in general, and I also love collecting them. But that doesn't mean that who I enjoy and who I watch is a specific type of only like witchcraft, witchy content creators. I do enjoy outside of that. So I think I've been inspired by Cheyenne Barton. I've been inspired by Megan Wang. Inkwell hasn't, I don't think they've done the videos like this, but I enjoy just them as an artist as well. And I think personally for me, the process of just saying like, this is all the artwork that I've done in the past month. Hope you enjoy it. Sort of like as a vlog, a diary entry. That's something that I personally enjoy. Back in the day for like YouTube, it used to be much more popular for this very much like vlog format where it was like a personal diary and people would do like VRs and respond to people, and I don't really see that often anymore. But just because people don't do that as often anymore doesn't mean that I can't do it myself. I've also noticed that YouTube itself has progressed into more of a long form, quote unquote, content market where longer videos, sometimes 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, like a movie, those are really doing well. And I think maybe that just might be like the algorithm and how it works for me. I'm not completely sure. I just know that like I personally feel inspired from all these other artists that I'm watching, and I want to contribute too. I will say that if I don't know if you can notice this, but my voice may be a little bit nasally. I did record the next Gromar Ramble again, and that my voice is a lot nasalier than now, but I'm still hoping, despite the nasally voice, that I can be able to give you something that you like today. So what did I do for October and November? Well, for one, I started my YouTube channel. Isn't that nice? I had been requested multiple times in person by a couple people around me to make a YouTube channel, and I didn't do it. I didn't want to do it. I was very resistant to it. Part of it is just because I can, I make mistakes just like everyone else, but typos and misspeaking are a specific type of error that I do not like to make. I don't really like having my mistakes memorialized forever. But then I sort of realized that, like you can make a YouTube channel and you can make videos and no one will watch it. And it's not that big of a deal. So, maybe get over it. That's what I told myself. For October and November, on top of making a YouTube channel, I also had a lot of stuff that I personally was working on. So I branched off to try some ceramics for the first time. I made a clay labyrinth. The symbol of like the labyrinth, it has a lot of spiritual and personal symbology in cultures, like for me personally, as well as like around the world. I specifically sometimes pull about the reference of minotaurs in connection to gay men, and I love that cultural reference, but I also love the reference of, life is a consistent journey that you may not always know the path on, and you have to continuously navigate this unending labyrinth trying your best. And I think the labyrinth was really good on that. I also have a lot of projects that unfortunately they just rely on me writing. They just rely on me physically writing and getting the book out of my head. And that's unfortunate for me. It's unfortunate for a lot of reasons. One, because personally for me, I don't think I see a lot of people actually use the guidebook for tarot decks or oracle decks or any deck, I don't see a lot of people, oh my gosh, I love this deck so much. I love the guidebook. I definitely want to contribute to the reversal of that. But I also have to try to understand for myself that, if I'm already walking in to a group of people who may not want guidebooks, they may not be interested in that. And it doesn't make sense for me to charge people, 10, 15, 20 bucks for a big heavy book that they're not going to read. So that's what I'm thinking. I need to get these guidebooks out. I need to get them out for the people who want it, but I also need to keep them as like a separate thing if other people want. I've also I run and I participate in art exchange for witchy people. It's for people who make their own grimoire ephemera, their own journaling ephemera, they're art witches, and they want to send it to other art witches in the world. So it's a monthly ongoing snail mail exchange group where you can send art you want, not art you want, but art that you create to people, and you get art back. And it's a sign up as you go, so you can drop out every month or you can join every month. And normally the way this works is that if you sign up, you only get one person. However, for October, I had actually decided to sign up and get myself 2 people. So there was 2 specific people that I was making art for, and these labyrinths were for them. And I decided to illustrate on printer paper these illustrations and then scan them, shrink them down, and then reprint them so that they have all these collage elements. And I'm stamping some vintage stamps too, so that they can use all these collage elements in their collage. Because these 2 people I know in particular, they love collaging. Almost all of the artwork I've seen from them, from a majority of it, has been collaged in some form. And I really wanted to give them something unique and versatile, something that they can connect with through me, like the clay labyrinth, but with the collage work, they can make it however they want. And then I think as we're getting into November, I signed up to do a lot of work, like capital W work. I started 2 original paintings, and they're almost done right now. And the whole idea is that these 2 paintings are sister paintings. They reflect each other. And I'm going to be giving them to another witchy creator so that he can sell them and auction them off and ship them off. And all the money can be donated to wherever he wants. I trust him. I know that he tries his hardest to make the world a better place. And I'm like, you know what? Here's paintings. You can sell it, and I trust you to put it wherever you want it to be. I also have really been pushing myself to start and finish a book. Not just like a guidebook, but like a coloring book of spells. I know that Molly Roberts has a book, Librum de Calibris, a book of coloring book spells, of like doodled illustrations. And I definitely do not personally feel like I am up there at like Molly Roberts level skill and capability. But I do want to make a book of coloring spells myself, and I want it to be stuff that Molly Roberts did not make in her book, sort of as a homage and a love letter to the art witch who brought me here. So what I've been doing is I have been working on the original doodle illustrations, and whenever there's a chance for a fundraiser for like a raffle, I will donate the digital files for them to the raffle. So in this case, there's one for Palestine, and I donated 7 pages to it. So, no one's going to get all 7 of them, right? But the idea is that I'm using these donations, I'm using these social advocacy opportunities to help push myself to, get some of the work I want to get done, to use it as a motivation to bring me closer and closer to the goal that I personally want. And the goal is just, the finished product. I also am working on, I think I'm going to talk more about this in the next Grimoire Ramble, which is a 2-card oracle spread in your Grimoire. But I'm working on another tarot deck. I am wrapping up as much as I can for all of the projects that I had for 2024. And what I learned in this year for myself as an artist is that I really thrive when I set yearly goals and quarterly goals. And if I don't follow these goals, there are big consequences. So originally I had this tarot deck idea. I know that there's tarot decks like the Margaret Peterson tarot that takes like 15 years to make. This was not that deck. This deck, I think, beginning to end, could have been finished in 3 months. And this book of coloring book spells could have also been started and finished in 3 months. But what happened was I had another idea that I felt was a lot more attractive, and I had decided to pursue that idea instead. And what ended up happening as a consequence is I finished something called the Mist and Lion Prayer Oracle deck. But because of that, I didn't finish this deck, which is a Marseille type tarot deck. And it is what it is. I learned my lesson, and now I'm trying to wrap it up as fast as I can so that hopefully it's done before 2025 is done. And later what you're going to see is I do make on purpose like a lot of just bad art. What I mean by that is like I just don't try and apply myself in a way that the artwork has to be good. There's lots of talks of like, when you're a singer, you have to warm up your voice. And when you're an artist, you have to like slowly like rise into crescendo with your artistic ability. And I think for me, I'm stepping into working in digital art for the first time. I also really want to get into having like a journal that's more of like a digital sketchbook journal. And both of those are contingent on the fact that I create in them, which is contingent on the fact that I make something and I don't hate it so much that I walk away from it. Because if I don't like it and I judge it based on if I like the way it looks, I give up and I walk away. And that's what we're going to talk about in the Grimoire Ramble, is like how I set it up for art where the appearance of the artwork doesn't matter. But for me, I really need to get into making artwork and not have it be something where, I don't like the way it looks, better give up on it. Because I will do that. I think that's like a nasty habit that I have, is like if I'm working on an artwork and I don't like the way it's progressing, I will just like give up on it and go, okay, on to the next. So I'm practicing on making purposely bad digital art and physical art for similar reasons. Physical art just to establish a precedent, and then the digital art just for experience and working in that format. For October and November, I've also just like been enjoying like another side of me and who I am as a person, if that makes sense. So I feel like for me, like I have a lot of duality. I feel like, there's a lot of there's a lot of rudeness and meanness and jadedness, but there's also like a lot of softness. And I think I definitely get a lot of that from like my Gemini sun and the Gemini nature, which, big surprise, a person who's a Gemini who won't stop talking for an hour. Who knew? Who could have guessed? But recently I've been getting back into Doctor Who. I used to watch Doctor Who all the time, and I heard that like it got canceled, and I just gave up on it. And I don't know why I do that. Same thing with Adventure Time. I heard Adventure Time got canceled, and then I just stopped watching it. Steven Universe, when I was growing up, I was watching it. Heard it got canceled, I just stopped watching it. And then it turned out, in all three cases, it didn't get canceled, and I just gave up for no good reason. So, my understanding of Doctor Who is very touch and go, just because I was watching the episodes out of order. So I'm going back to really just full breath from beginning, and by beginning I mean like Rose Tyler to present day in breath, just trying to understand and get everything. I've also been watching more of the Boulet Brothers Dragula. I think that the Boulet Brothers Dragula, for me, it means so much. It is such like a deeply medicinal TV show. And I think we all have those TV shows where it's like, oh, I love that show so much. It means so much to me from like a spiritual or personal point of view. And that's what the Boulet Brothers Dragula was for me. They are finishing up their season 6 at the time of me watching it. And I enjoy so much seeing alternative queer people create like their own creations and having their own stories told. On YouTube, I've been watching a lot of, and also from like Patreon, a lot of Kellyanne Maddox and Molly Roberts. I also love Catamancy Tarot. I don't believe that they have a Patreon at this point, but I really do get personally a lot out of a few sources, if that makes sense. Like, there's so much of the internet, and I used to be like, oh, I need to watch literally everything, and now I'm like, no, I need to get quality, reduce it down the amount of people that I am flooding my mind with through consumption, and raise up the quality. And I love what Kellyanne Maddox does. I love what Molly Roberts does. I love what Catamancy Tarot does. And like, if I had to touch on it specifically, I love the way Catamancy Tarot, I know that she's like, I'm pretty sure she's finishing up her graduate in anthropology. And I love the way that she isn't afraid to bring her conversations of anthropology into her discussions with tarot. And she also would just be like, okay, we're going to be doing this today, and talk about something like her planner videos, or how she uses tarot or divination when it comes to her writing. And I will say, I used to not like collage style decks until her. The way that she expresses her love for collage divination, I deeply enjoy it. I love it so much. And also, personally, I just find her videos relaxing, right? If I need a good relaxing session, I'll watch a Catamancy Tarot video. And then Kellyanne Maddox and Molly Roberts, I enjoy them both. Most likely, if you've been on YouTube and you're watching my videos, there's like almost a 100% chance that you know who Kellyanne Maddox is and you know who Molly Roberts is. And if you don't know who either of them are, I suggest that you quickly, like, comment, subscribe to me and all that, but also quickly move over and see what they're offering on YouTube. I think you might like it. I specifically love the advocacy that Kellyanne Maddox is doing. I love how she's using her platform. I love the way that she is innovative in a way to say, like, I can be an activist and I can use my voice as an activist in atypical formats to help more people. I think I heard that she was at one point, like, she was seeing people who was doing a lot of activism and she was offering herself as like free readings. for those people. And I know a lot of people might be like, readings, that's not much, but like providing an ear and providing space for people for an hour, I thought that was such like an innovatively soft and gentle offer. And plus Molly Roberts, I think Molly Roberts is for me like a really good compass of just keep going, keep creating, keep sharing, keep making. You can make art wherever you are with whatever you have. And that's just something that I personally enjoy, you know? I personally love the reminder to not stop making, not stop being gentle, being kind, you know? My friends in real life who know me and they've seen some Molly Roberts videos, despite the fact that they are not witches, they describe me as like goth Molly Roberts, angry Molly Roberts, even more alternative Molly Roberts. And I think that the comparisons can be reductive, but I also enjoy that it is so abundantly clear with the people around me that I do care about them and I do want to make the world a better place, to the degree of like, oh, I am coming off to them the way that, for lack of better words, like, oh, this hero of mine or this aspirational icon of mine, or even just, hey, this person, you know, this person at the end of the day, they're just a human. This person who means so much to me, they see me the way that this person sees me. Outside of that, I've also been using a lot of music as like to show the other side of the coin, right? So I have some more soft alternative music that I've been listening to and heavy alternative music that I've been listening to. And I've been using like the softness and the heaviness of these alternative music to really just almost like humors balance out me and balance out my thoughts and feelings. So I've been listening to more Melanie Martinez. I listen to her albums again. I personally feel like I go through a period of time where like I don't listen to any of her music, and then I go, okay, time to listen to all of it again. And part of it was just a personal political choice of mine to cut out a lot of musicians out of my life who weren't taking advantage of their platform to either speak about some current injustices in the world or make a stand to try and make the world a better place. And I know that some people are like, bruh, they're musicians, they're not politicians, right? But in my own personal point of view, you know, you have a voice, you have a power, and you can use it however you want. And if you choose to not use it in a way that is advocating for someone, if you have the ability to make a statement, if you have the ability to be there for someone and you choose not to, that's your choice. But my ability to financially support you is equally based on that choice. And, you know, Melanie Martinez has made it very clear, abundantly clear, not just through, you know, the songs that she makes and the themes of the songs, but also her advocacy online, that she is a deeply empathetic, caring person who has causes that she cares about and is not afraid to bring up those causes, to care about, you know, women and children across the world. And I care about that. I've also been listening to Slater and Sophie. I think Sophie's song Pony Boy and Face Shopping, 10 out of 10. Love them both. I've also been listening to Slater's Star Factor album. I love recently, and this is the juxtaposition between like soft and heavy, I crocheted a giant cardigan for myself. And not cardigan, sweater. And what I will do is I will listen to Slater's Purr, and I'll have like a miniature dance party at 7 a.m. to just that one song, and then I'll go clock into work. And also, I recently rediscovered Tiger Night. If you do not know, Tiger Night is the name of the band that Molly Roberts is in. And there's a specific song that she shared called Witch. And I personally love that song so much. I love it. I enjoy it. I did mishear the lyrics because, that's me. I mishear the lyrics all the time. But when I heard it again and I heard the lyrics again and I reheard, I was like, oh, this is a really good song. I love the approach. I love multiple aspects of the song, and I highly suggest you check them out. Lastly, I have been taking the time while I'm working and while I'm listening to music and in my free time to just think, I personally believe that a lot of conversations and spaces online, they lose out on a lack of contemplation and a lack of thinking. You really do benefit from taking the time to just reconsider things again and again. Unfortunately for me, I had filmed this video and recorded the audio of what I did for October, November, and it didn't work. It didn't work the first time or the 7th time. I think this is like my 8th or 9th time trying to explain what I did in October and November. And I definitely do think part of it is nerves. But part of it was, what do I want to convey? What do I want to get across? How do I want to show up? How do I want to present that, I'm here and you're not alone? I used a lot of time in October and November. Even when I was playing games, like there's a game called Papa's Freezeria I've been playing, Final Fantasy 14, and web fishing. And I've been playing those 3 games in my free time just to recover from basically working 2 full-time jobs. And using that time to contemplate. And the first thing I've been thinking about is like, what is a full-time artist? Am I a full-time artist, right? I think that, are you a full-time artist because you work full-time hours? Or do you count as a full-time artist when you get full-time artist pay? And does that mean that like if I'm working as a full-time artist and I wake up, I do a shift of my 40-hour week, and then I get off that job and I immediately start working on my next job, but I don't get paid like it, does that mean it doesn't count as a full-time job? Or does it have to do with the intention and the reasoning behind it? I'm struggling to think on how would I quantify me as a person, as an artist. Because on one hand, I've been making YouTube videos for a month and that's it. But also on the other side, I've been making art for years. And I haven't sold any artwork. So like for me, conceptualizing it, I'm like, does that mean that this isn't a full-time job? This doesn't count, right? Would that discount it to be like a part-time artist, or does that not count because I don't get paid for it? If I spend 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week on something, does that make it a job? I know that there's plenty of talk about people calling themselves a writer despite the fact they haven't finished a book. Does that mean that I can call myself an artist despite the fact that I haven't sold an art piece? And like just continuing off of that, I do believe that a lot of people have a lot of good ideas, but what is the weight of those good ideas if you don't execute any of them? So I feel like that flux of, am I impersonator? Am I not impersonator? What am I? I do think that's coming to a head in a lot of thought processes right now. And I think part of it has to do with this YouTube conversation about scammers and scammers online. So there was a conversation about this quote unquote artist named Kelsey Rodriguez and whether or not she is a scammer or not. And part of it was like, well, she does make art, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but it's like, does a person who claim that they are an artist, right? Can they sell you experience from being an artist and sell it to you, despite the fact that at best, their experience is not what they're marketing. It's analogous to a different career, So like, if I had a bunch of experience and it was in writing, could I sell you my experience as a painter? And in her case, it was, can she sell you specific courses and sessions on how you can sell yourself to be as an artist, and be an artist who make it from her point of view as an artist who has already made it, but she didn't sell any art at that point. The conversation was like, is she a scammer or is she not a scammer because she hasn't sold artwork at that point? And she was selling stuff for like $300, I think, on how to be an artist who's made it despite the fact that she didn't make it. And personally, in my opinion, like, I think she's a scammer. And I think that you can have room to say someone is a scammer, and also, hey, I don't agree with how that conversation was handled. I think part of it is just like, if it was framed as, for me, I am an artist who works 40 hours a week, but I haven't sold anything, would I frame it as me being an artist full time, or would I say that I work towards being an artist full time? And in that case, would it be like me selling my artwork, or would it be me saying, I've made it as a full-time artist and here's how you can too? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm allowing myself the space of not knowing. And I'm also allowing myself the risk, but also the activism to say online that I don't know. And it's okay to not know the answer. It's okay to say, thank you for letting me know that that changed my point of view, and not have such a strong, definitive stance online. I'm also thinking, am I ready to be an art business? I have been working on some artistic project, in some cases for 10 years, and it's getting closer and closer to the point of being ready for sale. And then I have some projects that I could honestly click for sale tomorrow and it's ready for sale. Like, it's ready, it's all done. But my question is, like, how would you quantify or qualify that you're ready to be a business on yourself, like an entrepreneur? And to be honest, I don't really know the answer for that either. I know that there's stuff that I particularly want to sell, So I want to sell stickers, I want to sell notebooks, journals, bookmarks. I have all these ideas of stuff that I want to do, but the question has always been like, okay, I have all these ideas, and in some cases, I have the product in my hands. How do you get it for people to see and people want to buy it? And my biggest problem is, like, I just didn't like sharing. I didn't like talking about it. I create and I create and I create, and I don't like telling people about that. I don't like the labor of explaining it to people. I don't like the labor of saying, this is what I made, and here's the thought process of it, and here's me thinking about it and the expression of it. And it felt like it was more work than the act of creation itself. I could sit down and create it, but then the act of sharing it was so much harder. And there were so many different voices telling you, if you are an art business, here's what you need to do, and here's how you can make money. And I didn't care. I just don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care what all these voices on the internet say I should do when none of them know me or what I'm creating. And from the lifespan of their channel and how it rises and falls, it doesn't seem like they know how to sell themselves either. All I know is that, what it means to be a full-time artist, would I be a scammer versus people I see who I definitely know as scammers / facing impersonation, and like, am I ready for a business? Those are like the thought processes that I'm thinking about. And as an artist, because I am willing to claim that title at least, I know that for me, the process of making art is a lot of mulling over topics and themes. I'm thinking about a project over time, and the project changes over time. I'm using the same skills that I use as an artist to try to answer my own questions and decide, am I ready to open up my shop in 2025? And I feel like the answer is I might be getting really close, but I'm not quite sure. I'm also thinking about like, what videos do I want to create? What do I want to share? I saw this video from Radis where they were talking about all the different ways that they use their planner and the way they think about it. And something that I really enjoyed is they had a page where they showed that there were 6 different sections where they would write down the different video ideas that they had. And I'm really starting to think maybe I should record my video ideas so that I at least have like, oh, I want to do this one and then do this one, in a similar way that I do for my art projects, where it's like, I want to create this and this and this. I'm like, oh, I could really expand it and push it visually through YouTube as well, and just comprehensively have all of my ideas in one set section and place. I'm thinking about starting that next month, right? So typically what I found is if I'm using a journal or a planner of some kind, it has to be very, very specific, right? Like the qualifications for what a planner has to be and for it to work with me, it has to be very, very specific. I know there's a lot of people, I'm thinking about like The Truth and Story, who they do make their planner, and they have like the small one, and they have the journal one, and they have the big one. I believe, I did speak about earlier about Catamancy Tarot and her planner video. There's a couple of them that Kelly Maddox had done about her file facts. For me, I can't do certain things. And I think that maybe a 2025 planner year video where I do the cover, I show how I make the cover, I show about like my own process of making it. I think that might be a good idea. And also just like what I do for my 2025 goals and quarterly goals, and sort of publicly put it out there, my goals, my ideas, as just sort of saying like, this is my plan. If I don't get it, there is this sort of like public shame to it, that like I said I would do it, I said we'll work on it, and then I didn't do it. What does that mean? I also want to, I recently saw a video from Kelly Maddox that she had expressed some fire magic that she had done, and I'm thinking about some of the more magic that I want to do in 2025, right? I know that she talks more about using the rosary and fire. I want to get into that too. I want to get into doing more fire magic, because a lot of the magic that I do personally is more energy work, and the closest to fire it gets is to a candle, right? It's just lighting a candle. But I used to do so much more witchcraft, and I think it sort of just fell to the side because a lot of my magic became more of creation and creating artwork, and I wanted to bounce back from that. I want to get into jewelry making. I want to make my own jewelry, like my own bracelets and necklaces and earrings. I do think making your own enchanted jewelry your own witchcraft jewelry can be great. It's also just something that I can do for a day-to-day, making my own sense of adornment in my own fashion. And also, like, I think that is like an extra layer, and my art magic would be great. She makes, there's lots of arguments about like rosaries, and I want to maybe make my own prayer beads. I've been wanting to for a while have my own like witchcraft beads, and that's a project I've been working on for a while, of the number of beads and how I want it. And I'm like, why not just do it? Why not I just do it in 2025, right? Why don't I buy a bunch of jewelry making kits, and then I buy probably like, I don't know, a cast iron cauldron from eBay, and I just do it, and I don't know why I haven't done it yet. And lastly, something I really started to see as like an idea for me that I wanted to do was like, what's in my basket videos. So Catamancy does this thing where she says like, these are the decks that I want to work on for the next period of time, and they're all like generally themed around this sort of thing. You know, she has like her goth and metal decks, her soft girl decks, and I think that I wouldn't mind for myself purposely distincting, these are the separate types of decks that I want to work with, and using that more in 2025. I'm thinking about my 2025 planner again, and about how like I typically say, this is my word of the year, or rather like this is the sentence of the year, and what do I want to make 2025 about. And I'm thinking about solidifying it as like, create while I can, or some notion of, if you're running out of time, if you're running out of ability, do what you can, do it how you can, do it where you can, and almost like aggressively fighting and grabbing every small moment that you can to make. And I think I might expand more on that on my 2025 planner video, which I think I might just go ahead and film right away and schedule for that to come out. I might schedule that to come out honestly on Christmas Day. I might not, just so that I don't celebrate Christmas, but for anyone who also doesn't celebrate Christmas, you have a little gift waiting for you, just to look forward to, that isn't, you know, ho 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 and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and all that, especially since, you know, we might not be feeling all that happy holidays going forward. I mean, other than that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me on my 2024 October and November retrospective look. You know, I was kind of worried about this just because, like, I haven't, the idea of like playing with tarot decks, I got it, you know. The idea of making arcs with grimoires, I got it. Explaining my artwork, explaining like the states of in between, not so good at. And I'm honestly not expecting this video to do good, but this isn't really about if this video does good or not. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing, wonderful day. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.